Sections from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Part 22, Reply to the Address of Welcome at Ramnath. Section 1. At Ramnath, the following address was presented to Swami Vivekananda by the Raja. His Most Holiness Sri Paramahamsa Yati Raja Digvijaya Kolahala Sarva Mata Sampratipanna Parama Yogeshwara Srimad Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Kara Kamala Sanjata Rajadi Raja Sevita Sri Vivekananda Swami, may it please your holiness. We, the inhabitants of this ancient and historic Samsthanam of Setu Bandha Rameshwaram, otherwise known as Ramanathapuram or Ramnath, beg most cordially to welcome you to this, our motherland. We deem it a very rare privilege to be the first to pay your holiness our heartfelt homage on your landing in India, and that on the shores sanctified by the footsteps of that great hero and our revered Lord Sri Bhagavan Ramachandra. We have watched with feelings of genuine pride and pleasure the unprecedented success which has crowned your laudable efforts in bringing home to the masterminds of the West the intrinsic merits and excellence of our time-honored and noble religion. You have, with an eloquence that is unsurpassed and in language plain and unmistakable, proclaimed to and convinced the cultured audiences in Europe and America that Hinduism fulfills all the requirements of the ideal of a universal religion and adapts itself to the temperament and needs of men and women of all races and creeds. Animated purely by a disinterested impulse, influenced by the best of motives and at considerable self-sacrifice, Your Holiness has crossed boundless seas and oceans to convey the message of truth and peace, and to plant the flag of India's spiritual triumph and glory in the rich soil of Europe and America. Your Holiness has both by precept and practice shown the feasibility and importance of universal brotherhood. Above all, your labors in the West have indirectly and to a great extent tended to awaken the apathetic sons and daughters of India to a sense of the greatness and glory of their ancestral faith and to create in them a genuine interest in the study and observance of their dear and priceless religion. We feel we cannot adequately convey in words our feelings of gratitude and thankfulness to Your Holiness for your philanthropic labors towards the spiritual regeneration of the East and the West. We cannot close this address without referring to the great kindness which Your Holiness has always extended to our Raja, who is one of your devoted disciples, and the honor and pride he feels by this gracious act of Your Holiness in landing first on his territory is indescribable. In conclusion, we pray to the Almighty to bless Your Holiness with long life and health and strength to enable you to carry on the good work that has been so ably inaugurated by you. With respects and love, we beg to subscribe ourselves, Your Holiness' most devoted and obedient disciples and servants. Ramnath, 25th January 1897. The Swami's reply follows in extenso. The longest night seems to be passing away. The sorest trouble seems to be coming to an end at last. The seeming corpse appears to be awaking and a voice is coming to us. Away back where history and even tradition fails to peep into the gloom of the past, coming down from there, reflected as it were from peak to peak of the infinite Himalaya of knowledge and of love and of work, India, this motherland of ours, a voice is coming unto us, gentle, firm, and yet unmistakable in its utterances, and is gaining volume as days pass by, and behold, the sleeper is awakening. Like a breeze from the Himalayas, it is bringing life into the almost dead bones and muscles. The lethargy is passing away, and only the blind cannot see, or the perverted will not see, that she is awakening. this motherland of ours from her deep long sleep. None can resist her any more. Never is she going to sleep any more. No outward powers can hold her back any more, for the infinite giant is rising to her feet. Your Highness and Gentlemen of Ramnath, accept my heartfelt thanks for the cordiality and kindness with which you have received me. I feel that you are cordial and kind, for heart speaks unto heart better than any language of the mouth. Spirit speaks unto spirit in silence, and yet in most unmistakable language, and I feel it in my heart of hearts. Your Highness of Ramnath, if there has been any work done by my humble self in the cause of our religion and our motherland in the western countries, if any little work has been done in rousing the sympathies of our own people by drawing their attention to the inestimable jewels that they know not or lying deep buried about their own home, if instead of dying of thirst and drinking dirty ditch water elsewhere out of the blindness of ignorance, they are being called to go and drink from the eternal fountain which is flowing perennially by their own home, if anything has been done to rouse our people towards action, to make them understand that in everything, religion and religion alone is the life of India, and when that goes, India will die, in spite of politics, in spite of social reforms, in spite of Kubera's wealth poured upon the head of every one of her children. If anything has been done towards this end, India and every country where any work has been done owe much of it to you, Raja of Ramnath. For it was you who gave me the idea first, and it was you who persistently urged me on towards the work. You, as it were, intuitively understood what was going to be and took me by the hand, helped me all along, and have never ceased to encourage me. Well is it, therefore, that you should be the first to rejoice at my success, and meet it is that I should first land in your territory on my return to India. Great works are to be done, wonderful powers have to be worked out. We have to teach other nations many things, as has been said already by your Highness. This is the motherland of philosophy, of spirituality, and of ethics, of sweetness, gentleness, and love. These still exist, and my experience of the world leads me to stand on firm ground and make the bold statement that India is still the first and foremost of all nations of the world in these respects. Look at this little phenomenon. There have been immense political changes within the last 4 or 5 years. Gigantic organizations undertaking to subvert the whole of existing institutions in different countries and meeting with a certain amount of success have been working all over the Western world. Ask our people if they have heard anything about them. They have heard not a word about them. But there was a parliament of religions in Chicago, and that there was a sannyasin sent over from India to that parliament, and that he was very well received, and since that time has been working in the West, the poorest beggar has known. I have heard it said that our masses are dense, that they do not want any education, and that they do not care for any information. I had at one time a foolish leaning towards that opinion myself, but I find experience is a far more glorious teacher than any amount of speculation, or any amount of books written by globetrotters and hasty observers. This experience teaches me that they are not dense, that they are not slow, that they are as eager and thirsty for information as any race under the sun. But then each nation has its own part to play, and naturally each nation has its own peculiarity and individuality with which it is born. Each represents, as it were, one peculiar note in this harmony of nations, and this is its very life, its vitality. In it is the backbone, the foundation, and the bedrock of the national life, and here in this blessed land, the foundation, the backbone, the life center is religion, and religion alone. Let others talk of politics, of the glory of acquisition of immense wealth poured in by trade, of the power and spread of commercialism, of the glorious fountain of physical liberty. But these the Hindu mind does not understand and does not want to understand. Touch him on spirituality, on religion, on God, on the soul, on the infinite, on spiritual freedom, and I assure you the lowest peasant in India is better informed on these subjects than many a so called philosopher in other lands. I have said, gentlemen, that we have yet something to teach to the world. This is the very reason the raison d'etre that this nation has lived on, in spite of hundreds of years of persecution. In spite of nearly 1,000 years of foreign rule and foreign oppression, this nation still lives. The raison d'etre is it still holds to God, to the treasure house of religion and spirituality. In this land are still religion and spirituality, the fountains which will have to overflow and flood the world to bring in new life and new vitality to the Western and other nations, which are now almost worn down, half killed, and degraded by political ambitions and social scheming. From out of many voices, consonant and dissentient, from out of the medley of sounds filling the Indian atmosphere, rises up supreme, striking, and full one note, and that is renunciation. Give up. That is the watchword of the Indian religions. This world is a delusion of 2 days. The present life is of 5 minutes. Beyond is the infinite. Beyond this world of delusion, let us seek that. This continent is illumined with brave and gigantic minds and intelligences which even think of this so called infinite universe as only a mud puddle. Beyond and still beyond they go. Time, even infinite time, is to them but non existence. Beyond and beyond time they go. Space is nothing to them. Beyond that they want to go, and this going beyond the phenomenal is the very soul of religion. The characteristic of my nation is this transcendentalism, this struggle to go beyond, this daring to tear the veil off the face of nature and have at any risk, at any price, a glimpse of the beyond. That is our ideal. But of course, all the people in a country cannot give up entirely. Do you want to enthuse them? Then here is the way to do so. Your talks of politics, of social regeneration, your talks of money making and commercialism, all this will roll off like water from a duck's back. This spirituality then is what you have to teach the world. Have we to learn anything else? Have we to learn anything from the world? We have, perhaps, to gain a little in material knowledge, in the power of organization, in the ability to handle powers, organizing powers, in bringing the best results out of the smallest of causes. This perhaps to a certain extent we may learn from the West, but if anyone preaches in India the ideal of eating and drinking and making merry, if anyone wants to apotheosize the material world into a god, that man is a liar. He has no place in this holy land. The Indian mind does not want to listen to him. I, in spite of the sparkle and glitter of Western civilization, in spite of all its polish and its marvelous manifestation of power standing upon this platform, I tell them to their face that it is all vain. It is vanity of vanities. God alone lives. The soul alone lives. Spirituality alone lives. Hold on to that. Yet, perhaps some sort of materialism toned down to our own requirements would be a blessing to many of our brothers who are not yet ripe for the highest truths. This is a mistake made in every country and in every society, and it is a greatly regrettable thing that in India, where it was always understood, the same mistake of forcing the highest truths on people who are not ready for them has been made of late. My method need not be yours.